How's it going, everyone? So recently on my 1995 Miata, the speedometer stopped working. Along with that, the odometer also stopped working, which is obviously a even bigger concern. So before that, the speedometer would do that thing where it kind of like wobbles around. You Miata owners probably have experienced that at some point in your ownership, you NA and NB Miata owners at least. So I got a new one right here, and today we're going to be replacing that. Now I also, if you guys caught my live stream on Instagram the other night, when we went to the junkyard last week, I just happened to grab a Saab emblem off one of the 9.5s that was there. And last night we thought, hey, why don't we just put this on the Miata, because the Mazda logo that was here fell off a while ago. So we drilled out the holes a little bit, put some double-sided tape on there, and yeah, this is now my Saab MX-5. So one-off car, as you can see, in beautiful condition. But I just thought that was something fun to do. I thought it was funny. I thought you Saab guys watching this video would appreciate it. So I'm gonna stop rambling. We're gonna get the car up on jack stands because we're gonna need to do that for this job. While it's up on jack stands, I'm also gonna be rotating the tires because that hasn't been done in a while. But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pull the Turbo X out, but let's get to it. So I got the car jacked up, I got all the wheels off ready to rotate them, and I noticed that the tire pressures were low. So I actually filled them all up, and that's what I just got done doing. So now we're going to go ahead and get under the car. One end of the speedometer cable attaches to the transmission, so we're just going to have to loosen that up. Then there should just be a couple of clips, and that's all we'll have to do underneath the car for this. So that was incredibly easy to find. So passenger side is over there, driver side is over here. And as you can see, near the back of the transmission, right there is where the speedometer cable is. There's clip number 1, and then there's clip number 2. And I don't ask why this shit's covered in oil, I don't know. But clearly I have an oil leak somewhere. So for the sake of time, I just have an adjustable wrench with me because I don't want to have to keep getting up and figuring out which size I need. So that should just screw off right there. And I'll show you guys once I get that done. FYI, if you have a magnetic light, it'll stick right to your exhaust right here, so that's a perfect spot for that. But it is loose. I'm just gonna do it by hand the rest of the way. Actually, maybe I'll just do it this way because it's kind of hard to get my hand up in there. You can see it moving around there. Let me tell you guys one thing. I would work on this car a million times before I had to work on my Saab, because this car is just so much simpler, so much more straightforward. And that's not a knock on the Saab. Of course I love the Saab, but this is just so much easier to work on. So clip number 1, oh, my hands are covered in oil. And clip number 2 is right there. So when I said I had an oil leak, that's just from playing around down there for like 30 seconds with the hangers. That's pretty bad. I'm really gonna have to figure out where that's coming from on a serious note. But coming back up top, now that we're done underneath, there is one more connector back here, which of course also happens to be covered in oil. So if you guys can see the cable covered in oil, put an arrow on the screen. It's coming up through the transmission tunnel to the firewall, and you can't see on camera, it's just too hard to see. But once you guys find where that is, you'll see there's a clip about 2 inches further up from where I'm showing right now, like right here ish on the firewall. You just have to unhook, then the cable comes around and goes in right there. So now that that's done, we're gonna have to come into the interior here, and we're going to have to remove this so we can pull this gauge cluster out and unhook the speedometer cable from there. So we're going to start by taking off these 2 plastic pieces behind the steering wheel. As you can see, my my dash piece needs to be replaced. That just came off in 2 separate pieces. That's nice. So now we got to pull the instrument cluster out. There's 4 screws for that. 1 here, 1 down there, and then the same on this side as well. So let's get to doing that. So despite the screws being loose, I really can't pull this out much because the cables are kind of holding it in place. So we're going to disconnect the cables now. So it looks like we've got 3 of them. That one, which is a speedometer cable, and then this one over here. So despite the incredibly awkward angle that you have to do that at, it was actually pretty simple. As you can see, we got all 3 disconnected. So now it's time to pull the old speedometer cable out. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at all this sludge. Gotta love new parts. Let's open this thing up. So just in case you open this up and you wonder, what the hell am I looking at? This side plugs into the gauge cluster, and of course you have the little rubber thing here that plugs in, or that connects to the firewall, and this end goes in the transmission. So we're going to start by feeding it through the firewall, and then we'll work our way down into the engine bay and get all these clips hooked up. So a little bit of manipulation from down under here and up top, and we're able to feed it through here, and now it's ready to get hooked up. This next part might end up being a little bit tricky, feeding it down the correct way so the clips line up, but we're going to do our best. Alright, there it is right there. Now we're going to pull it down, bring it on. Oh, you can't see it all. Bring it down over the transmission over here, and then we'll start tightening everything up top first. So I just plugged the new rubber seal on there, and now we're going to head back up in there, connect everything up there, and we'll come back and clip everything on the engine and underneath. So everything is bolted up. One thing I do want to note, when you get down to screwed in the transmission, there's a little tab on the part that goes into the transmission. You have to make sure that's lined up. That was a little bit difficult to get. Once you get that up, you just got screwed in and clamp it up, and you're all good. So now I'm just going to put the wheels back on, lower the car, and fingers crossed my speedometer works again. Car is on the ground and we're running, and we're going to go take her for a drive and hope everything's all good. All right, here we go. There we go, it's working. We did it, boys. We did it. I'm gonna go drive it around for a bit, make sure it works at all speeds, I guess we'll say. I don't know. I'm just gonna drive it around for a bit. I'll do a final wrap up of this video when I get back in a couple minutes. Okay, update. I am definitely not doing 130, 140 miles an hour. Something is most definitely wrong. I repeat, something is most definitely wrong, and I have no idea what it is. As you can see, 4th gear here, doing about under 3,000 RPM. This is probably like 40 miles an hour, and the car thinks I'm doing Lord knows how fast, so I'm gonna have to go figure out what the hell this problem is. 0 to 100, you guys ready? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say she's pretty fast. Okay, but on a serious note, I am not sure what's wrong, because it was actually doing the same exact thing before the speedometer cable stopped working. You guys can probably hear a really annoying, like, buzzing noise coming from somewhere back there. I have no idea what it is. So I'm a little bit disappointed right now. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comments what you think this problem might be. Again, speedometer cable is usually the culprit in this scenario, but clearly it's something else. All of my connections and everything were plugged in. I'm going to double check right now, but I don't know what the problem is. So please, I'm going to do some research, but please leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Not how I expected this video to go. A few days have passed. I'm not getting any closer to the car because, well, it's raining outside. But I did some research online, I asked around, and from what I can tell, I need a new instrument cluster. So I'm gonna find a used one that I can order, and I'll probably do a video installing that. But for those of you out there who just need to replace the speedometer cable and your speedometer cable is actually the problem, I hope this video could help you because I didn't do anything wrong with the install of the speedometer cable. For now, to get to stop making that noise though, I just unplugged it again because it's just annoying as all heck. So yeah, looks like the instrument cluster might be the cause of that problem. If anyone else has any other suggestions though, feel free to leave those down below in the comments. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.